Deny, defend, depose. The words written on the bullet casings that killed United Healthcare CEO Brian Thompson may now form the basis for his accused killer's mental health defense. In a stunning courtroom reveal today, the judge in Luigi Mangione's state case indicated that the defense strategy is changing and will now pursue a psychiatric defense. Mangione will admit to gunning down Thompson on a cold Manhattan sidewalk in 2024, but will argue that he was under, quote, extreme emotional disturbance when he shot Thompson in the back. Under New York law, a jury must be convinced that Mangione had an emotional disturbance so extreme he lost self-control. And they'll have to consider whether Mangione's excuse for committing the murder is reasonable from his perspective. Now, to be clear, this is not an insanity defense. Rather, it is essentially a plea for mercy. Under New York law, if the jury agrees that he acted under extreme emotional disturbance, Mangione will be convicted of first-degree manslaughter as opposed to second-degree murder. That's the count he is now charged with. So a conviction, yes, but carrying with it substantially less prison time than the life sentence he's currently facing. The defense could use Mangione's own words to bolster his claims, specifically the ones he wrote in his manifesto, excerpts that read in part, quote, "So let's say you want to rebel against the deadly greed-fueled health insurance cartel. What do? You whack the CEO at the annual parasitic bean counter convention. It conveys a greedy bastard that had it coming." Brian Thompson was 50 years old, the son of an Iowa grain elevator, father to 2 boys, and it's not clear what, if any, connection Mangione even had to United Healthcare. Mangione suffered from self-described struggles with chronic back pain, a botched surgery, and brain fog, but he was not insured by United Healthcare. Yet, despite the horror of the crime and the flippant nature of Mangione's words, his written motive has resonated in a macabre fashion. Thousands have rallied around him, including self-proclaimed fangirls, snarkily described by the New York Post as fanghouls, who've endorsed his barbaric justification for murder. The question now is whether a jury will. Joining us now, Los Angeles Magazine contributor and host of the Outlier podcast, Lauren Conlin, and NewsNation host and chief legal analyst, Jesse Weber. All right, Jesse, because you're the legal analyst, I'll start with you. Is this the Hail Mary of courtroom defenses?
Look, here's the problem. Usually it's a tough defense, and usually you see it where someone loses control. It has to happen in that moment. The cases I've seen it potentially were that moment. You are overcome with such passion. You are suffering from such mental...
You see or experience something, and in that moment you do something.
You lose control. I think the best example of it is if you see in the movie Seven, at the end of the movie, Brad Pitt's character is a police officer, finds out that the killer, Kevin Spacey's character, kills his wife. She was pregnant with her child. Loses control, shoots him in the head. I can make the argument that's extreme emotional disturbance.
He finds out she was murdered, and he murders the murderer.
In that moment, loses control.
Okay.
This one, when you have a premeditated killing, and you think about it for over a period of time, and you plan it, that's the allegation. And look, I think it was very clear that his defense attorneys were gonna have a struggle to say that he didn't commit the crime. This is the avenue they're going. It's an uphill battle. Now, what is it gonna be? This is putting United Healthcare on trial. This is saying these are the evils. If I have to imagine what they're going to do, the evils of United Healthcare, the evils of Brian Thompson. I was so overcome with the pain and suffering of people who've lost insurance. Now, I don't know if that's going to work, but that's what I imagine they're going to do.
Lauren, what was the reaction inside the courtroom when this was revealed that this was the way the defense is going to go?
Elizabeth, it was insane because it's obviously not only press in the courtroom. As you mentioned, it's many people that support him, fangirls. And I'm sitting there thinking, half of you called him a hero. Half of you said he didn't do it. There's lots of reasonable doubt here. We only saw his back when Brian Thompson was shot. So I'm thinking to myself, you thought he was a hero when he did it. Now he's saying, well, I did it, but I was very emotionally disturbed, so I didn't really mean it. And then for the people who said, oh, it wasn't him, he's taking culpability now. But my question here is, and maybe Jesse can speak on this, he also is concurrently facing a federal trial where EED is not a defense that's allowed. This is only for New York State. So how is this going to affect that? I mean, he's admitting culpability here, and a federal jury or potential federal jurors, they could hear this. So I'm confused. I'm wondering at this point if he's going to be working on some kind of federal plea in the meantime.
You can't use extreme emotional disturbance in federal court. He is facing life in prison in federal court. And if he admits that he's guilty in state court, he can't then go into federal court and say, I didn't do it.
So he's facing stalking charges at the federal level. Slightly different, but look, Lauren makes a good point. What's admitted there could have an effect on the federal case. I should also tell you, it's not just anger, right? Imagine if it was just, I was so angry, I felt the need to kill. It has to be more than that. And because the problem is it's a slippery slope. Think about how many people.
I was going to say, everybody accused of murder on planet Earth could say I was having extreme emotional disturbance when I did it.
Here's the thing. You know, his defense attorneys are incredible. They got so many charges thrown out during the course of this case, evidence tossed, that it does make me wonder if they call a psychiatrist who studies Luigi Mangione. And by the way, the state's going to have an opportunity to call their own mental health professionals, but they say, look, this guy, he was in a world of his own. He was not thinking straight. He was controlled by something else. He isolated himself. Let's study this. You know, this is a guy where you wonder about jury selection and if people are going to be sympathetic to him and can you get a fair and impartial jury. It's kind of unpredictable. If you ask me just from the law and based on this, it's an uphill battle, but this is a case that's difficult to predict at times.
Lauren, how do all the Mangione fangirls after this hearing? You mentioned that there was a lot of reaction in the courtroom to it, but literally, what did they say afterward? Are they now saying, oh, I guess maybe he is guilty, or what?
No, I haven't heard anything like that. I've kind of been creeping on a lot of the Reddit threads and a lot of the online chatter, and I think it's just shock. And I have to wonder, you know, this guy has raised a ton of money for his defense. So I'm looking for people who might be upset, you know, that they donated. I'm really trying to parse through this here because half of the story, and it's pathetic and sad, but half of the story here are his fans and are all the support that he's getting. And to Jesse's point, his defense attorneys have done an incredible job to the point that I think people forget that he's facing only second-degree murder in New York State.
Right.
First-degree murder charge dropped a while ago, back in September. Additionally, they got count 9 of the indictment dropped today as well, and that was referring to the magazine that was found in his backpack in the Altoona, Pennsylvania McDonald's, but a judge ruled that part of the search unlawful. So that was thrown out again. I mean, they're doing a great job, and I have to think that they really know what they're doing here. So I'm obviously going to leave it to the attorneys.
Lauren, do you see any of that public support that Mangione has enjoyed? Such robust support. I mean, my God, not only the fund and the fangirls, they wrote a Broadway musical about this guy. It's unbelievable. Do you see any of that support now eroding, that his lawyers have floated, okay, he did it, and he was just, you know, really cuckoo bananas for a moment when he did it?
Well, isn't that ironic, Elizabeth? They've hailed him a hero in a musical. They've rallied around him thinking that this was purposeful. He did this because he believed in the cause and he wanted better health care for all. And look at healthcare is so amazing now, right? He really made a difference. But no, it will be interesting to see. I am very interested because this is all backwards now. It's completely backwards. So yeah. I'm waiting. I'm ready.
All right, Lauren Conlin, Jesse Weber. Jesse, it'll be very interesting if his defense lawyers manage to make United Healthcare and health insurance in this company a player in this trial.
Oh, it certainly has become now.
Most Americans are still unhappy with the state of things.
And I think it makes jury selection even more tough.
Yeah, all right. And remember, you can watch Jesse's show tonight at 11 p.m. Eastern, 10 p.m. Central, right here on NewsNation. Lauren, thanks so much.
Thank you for watching. Subscribe below and download our NewsNation app right now on your phone, and you will get fact-based, unbiased news for all Americans.